Corruption, racism, freedom of speech, education, medicine and stolen ideas will be discussed in this episode about Russia.
Hello everyone. In this video we're going to talk about shocking facts about Russia. Corruption is a disgusting concept for all developed countries. But what famous Russians thinks about it?
We work in a system where corrupt officials themselves decide the issue of prosecuting corrupt officials. Alexei Navalny.
In another battle between power and corruption, once again the friendship won. Stas Yankovsky.
Okay, let's look at the official data. Corruption is a major problem in Russia. It is estimated that up to 20% of Russia's GDP is lost to corruption each year. This corruption affects all levels of society, from the government to businesses to individuals. According to Transparency International, Russia ranks 136 out of 180 countries on its Corruption Perception Index. This means that Russia is perceived as one of the most corrupt countries in the world. In 2018, it was revealed that a group of Russian officials had embezzled over $2 billion from the state budget. The money was used to fund lavish lifestyles and to buy property in the United States and Europe. In 2020, it was reported that a Russian businessman had paid a $10 million bribe to a government official in order to secure a lucrative construction contract. The official was later arrested and charged with corruption. In 2021, it was revealed that a Russian company had paid bribes to government officials in order to win a contract to build a new airport. And these are just a few examples. Well, let's forget about corruption for a moment because where it exists, there is no freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech in Russia is severely restricted. The government has passed a number of laws that make it difficult for people to express their opinions freely, including the Law on Foreign Agents, which requires non-governmental organizations that receive foreign funding to register as foreign agents and to label all of their materials as such. This law has been used to silence a number of independent journalists and human rights groups. The Law on Extremism, which is vague and broadly defined, making it easy for the government to crack down on dissent. Under this law, people have been arrested for expressing their opinions on social media, for participating in protests, and for even wearing clothing with symbols that the government deems to be extremist. The Law on Internet Sovereignty, which gives the government control over the Internet in Russia. This law has been used to block websites that the government deems to be undesirable, including websites of independent media outlets and human rights organizations. In 2012, the Russian government passed a law that criminalizes offending the feelings of religious believers. This law has been used to silence critics of the Russian Orthodox Church, including journalists and bloggers. In 2014, the Russian government banned the Jehovah's Witnesses as an extremist organization. This ban has led to the harassment and arrests of Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia. In 2021, the Russian government passed a law that makes it illegal to spread fake news about the military. This law has been used to silence critics of the Russian government's military operations in Ukraine. When personal opinion is forbidden, you must be like everyone else, look the same, love the same and act like everyone else. Intolerance is a widespread problem in Russia. It is directed at a variety of groups, including ethnic minorities. Russia is a multi-ethnic country, but there is a long history of discrimination against ethnic minorities. Central Asian migrants, and people from the North Caucasus are particularly vulnerable to discrimination. Religious minorities. The Russian Orthodox Church is the dominant religion in Russia, and there is a history of intolerance towards religious minorities, such as Muslims, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Hare Krishnas. LGBTQ+ people. Russia is one of the most homophobic countries in the world. LGBTQ+ people face discrimination in all areas of life, including employment, housing, and healthcare. People with disabilities. People with disabilities face discrimination in education, employment, and access to public services. Political dissidents. The Russian government is intolerant of political dissent. Journalists, human rights activists, and opposition politicians are often harassed, arrested, and imprisoned. The Russian government has a history of promoting intolerance. In recent years, the government has passed a number of laws that have made it easier to discriminate against minority groups. For example, the Law on Foreign Agents has been used to target independent journalists and human rights groups, and the Law on Extremism has been used to silence critics of the government. But how did it happen? Maybe they are all insufficiently educated or suffer from unknown diseases. The Russian healthcare system is underfunded and in a state of decline. There is a shortage of doctors and nurses, and the equipment is often outdated. Patients often have to wait long times to see a doctor, and the quality of care can be variable. There is a high level of corruption in the healthcare system, which can lead to patients being overcharged or receiving substandard care. The availability of essential medicines is often limited, and the cost of healthcare is rising. And what about education? Many old schools in Russia are in a state of disrepair. They have leaky roofs, crumbling walls, and outdated equipment. Students in these schools often have to learn in overcrowded classrooms and with inadequate resources. The lack of maintenance and investment in old schools has led to a decline in the quality of education in Russia. The Russian government has a responsibility to ensure that all children have access to quality education and that all citizens have access to quality healthcare. However, the government has not done enough to address the problems with old schools and hospitals in Russia. As a result, millions of children and citizens are being denied the opportunity to reach their full potential. And what else can surprise you after that? The world's largest country lags behind the developed world by decades. Let's watch a couple of videos and photos to see the difference in progress.
О, молодец, Катюха, метко стреляешь. Давайте, пакуйте его быстро.
Not this time. It never happened.
It never happened. We made this one up. It's fiction.
Look at me.
Good one.
Oh, it's funny because it's true.
And for dessert, how to become the most hated country that everyone laughs at. When Russia attacked Ukraine on February 24, 2022, they wanted to capture it in 3 days. It's been over 500 days. During this time, Russia fired 8,000 rockets at Ukraine, sent more than 750 drones. Russia during this time lost tanks, 4,254. Armored fighting vehicle, 8278. Cannons, 4,996. MLRS, 709. Anti-aircraft warfare, 468. Airplanes, 315. Helicopters, 312. UAV, 4,158. Ships, boats, 18. Cars and cisterns, 7,460. Special equipment, 737. Military personnel, 250,800 people. Referring to many sources, an approximate figure for spending only $100 billion on weapons. How much they still lost on sanctions in the internal crisis can only be guessed and smiled. But the funniest thing is that the official payments for the death of military personnel in Russia are 2 million rubles, but in fact people are recorded as missing and do not pay anything, or they were given locally produced cars, or for some people in remote areas of this country were given food kits. A couple of news outlets did the math and were amazed. It turned out that a kilogram of pork or veal cost more than a kilogram of a dead military man. But what could that money be spent on? The cost of one large hospital with the most modern equipment is $100 million, the cost of a new school for 1,000 people is about $10 million. In total they could build 500 super-developed hospitals and 5,000 top-level schools. They don't care. And we won't care about them. That's all, thank you for watching. Subscribe and like video. See you next time.